Well, like pennant races all around Major League Baseball, the weather in Cincinnati is heating up once again. It's a finale in the rubber game of this 3-game weekend series between the Reds and the Chicago Cubs. And the Reds trying to maintain at the minimum, if not increase their lead over St. Louis in the National League Central, up by 4 games going into play here today. Hi again, everybody. Alongside the Cowboy, Jeff Brantley, I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome, as always, to Reds Baseball. You saw Drew Stubbs there a moment ago. When the year began, you may remember, he was batting in the leadoff spot pretty much for the first 3 weeks. They made the change. The team got rolling. He's not been back there by and large since. He is back in the leadoff role today.
Well, we've had a couple of flip-flops in the leadoff role. We saw Jay Bruce the last couple of ball games. Today we'll see Drew Stubbs. Without having Brandon Phillips in the top of the lineup, it's going to be a flip-flop. But I think tonight is a test run, basically, for Drew Stubbs. He was the leadoff hitter early in the season, and you're talking about a guy that would be the perfect prototypical guy in the leadoff spot. It would be Drew Stubbs. Without the strikeouts, with a guy that makes contact with regularity, he could be the leadoff hitter for this club.
And whether it be this year or certainly sometime down the road, that's where they would like Stubbs eventually to be. We talked about Travis Wood. He'll get the ball here today. Can he bounce back from his first shellacking at the big league level? That, you may remember, was in San Francisco. We'll talk more about that in a moment.
Reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Our telecast of Reds baseball each and every day on Fox Sports Ohio is presented in beautiful high definition, courtesy of H.H. Gregg. Temperatures definitely warming up today. For more on the rest of the afternoon forecast, let's check in with Jeff Creighton.
Another hot day down at Great American Ballpark. We lost the game on Saturday. Let's see if we can make it back up on Sunday. First pitch, 88, 92 by the seventh inning, 92 by that final out. Humidity not a real factor. Reds, you're still hot.
Trying to win a series today are the Reds, behind one of their many talented young pitchers in their rotation.
Well, when you talk about the left-hander, Travis Wood, you can also add in a whole lot of other youngsters. Homer Bailey, Johnny Cueto, Mike Leake, Travis Wood, who will be starting today. Edinson Volquez, don't forget about him. He's probably the oldest of those, all under 27 years old. You don't see Sam LeCure on here. You don't see Matt Maloney, but they have both come out and pitched well this year. You're looking at the 5 guys that you may see in the starting rotation come 2011, and all with extensive big league experience.
Boy, young, talented, so much to be excited about. Cowboy looking for many, many years to come. You always pray for good health first and foremost. Jay Bruce and the Reds set to tee him up on a Sunday afternoon at Great American Ballpark. The first pitch is next. Brought to you in part by State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. By Ford F-Series trucks, the best-selling trucks, 33 straight years. By Just for Men for mustache and beard, keep your edge. And by Skyline Chili. Whenever you're feeling good and hungry, it's Skyline time. A warm, late summer day in downtown Cincinnati. And welcome to Great American Ballpark. The Reds have taken the field wearing their red jerseys today. And let's take a look at Mike Quaddy's starting lineup for the Cubs. Presented by Cincinnati Bell. Jeff Baker leads off at second. Starlin Castro at short. Marlon Byrd in center. Aramis Ramirez, the cleanup hitter at third. Xavier Nady at first. Alfonso Soriano back in the lineup in left. A ladder third of Giovanni Soto. Kosuke Fukudome, who had a big 2-run home run in the win for Chicago last night, is in right. And Casey Coleman, a rookie, is on the mound for the Cubs, opposed by another rookie, 4-2 left-hander Travis Wood.
Boy, it almost seems like at this point you wouldn't call him a rookie as well as he has pitched. Every start except one, and except today, has come on the road, and Travis Wood has handled them all like a champ. Come out and thrown the baseball very similar to how he was in AAA, which was about as good as you could pitch. almost had a perfect ball game against the Philadelphia Phillies in Philadelphia earlier this year, and only his second start here at home today against the Cubs. The only team that he has had multiple starts against. Everyone else, it has been one start and out. And this Cubs lineup today, only 5 for 32 against Travis Wood. That's a 156 average. So let's look for some good things today.
Jeff Baker digging in, and Travis Wood into the wind, the kick, and the pitch. It is ball one low, and this game is underway. 89 degrees game time temperature at Great American Ballpark. Brian Knight calls the balls and strikes today. Sam Holbrook at first, Scott Berry at second, Greg Gibson at third, and that one shot into right field, a base hit by Baker. Leadoff man aboard. We take a look at the Reds on defense, presented by Ford. Heisey getting a start in left field with Stubbs in center, Bruce in right. Again, Roland, Yanish, Valleca, and Votto the infield, third and first. And Ramon Hernandez back in the lineup behind the plate.
Well, with that speed in the outfield today that the Reds possess, there shouldn't be any ball drop that's in the air.
Starlin Castro, the rookie shortstop, at 308. 3 home runs and 38 batted in, trying to bunt his way on. And fouls it off down a strike. We'll forever remember Castro's major league debut on May the 7th right here at Great American Ballpark. His very first at bat, became the 6th Cub in that franchise's history to hit a home run in his very first at bat. He later added a 3-run triple, knocked in 6 runs in the game, a major league record for RBIs in a big league debut. And he is quickly behind, 0-2.
You can expect Wood to pitch inside all afternoon long. Cuts the ball in on the right-handers and then drops that changeup away from him, or he'll backdoor that curveball.
Wood's ERA went from the very low 2s to nearly the mid 3s on one outing alone, his last outing, where he allowed 7 hits, 7 earned runs in 4 innings in what turned out to be a 16-5 loss to the Giants. Tapper back to the mound. They get one, and that's all they're going to get. Castro runs well. That's a nice play made by the second baseman, Valleca.
Woods gets off the mound as good as anybody. He's very athletic, very similar to the right-handed Mike Leake, the youngster. But on that ball thrown to second base, as you saw Valleca coming to the bag, you got to catch that ball with 2 hands if you're going to have any chance at all to turn a double play. And with Castro running, it probably wasn't going to happen anyway.
But now Marlon Byrd, a 302 batter, 11 home runs and 55 driven in. Castro 6 steals. He's been thrown out 6 times. The Milwaukee Brewers come to town to begin a 3-game series here tomorrow night. Plenty of tickets still available for the final 3 games on this homestand, and then the Reds will convene at Busch Stadium with the St. Louis Cardinals beginning on Friday night. Final 3 games of the year between the top 2 teams by and large this entire season in the National League Central Division. In fact, here we have a full month plus left in this year, and it's already been a major league record. 101 consecutive days. It just came to an end a little more than a week ago, where the Reds and the Cardinals occupy the top 2 spots in the division in either order, with neither team leading the other by more than 3 games.
It's amazing. I mean, that's the ultimate pennant race right there from the get-go.
Reds beginning play 4 ahead of the Cardinals going into play today after St. Louis got beat up in Washington last night, and the Reds lost by a run here. 1-2 on Byrd.
And there was so much talk early in the season. Everybody thought that the Cardinals would be the team to beat. The one thing that you wanted to do is have it with you and the Cardinals and not anybody else. Run off and leave the rest of the pack, and that's exactly what happened.
1-2 the count on Marlon Byrd, and a ground ball weakly hit in the hole. This will be safe at second base. Starting to say an infield hit because they weren't going to get Byrd. And Castro runs too well to try and force him out at second base on that broken bat roller.
Well, this is basically some of the things that happened in the ball game in San Francisco with Travis Wood. It wasn't as though they were hitting him all over the place. There were just a couple little dupes over into the right field beyond the second baseman and a couple of infield hits.
Boy, had Valleca kept his eye on the base runner there, he could attack Castro out. It is ruled an infield hit, so there are 2 on with 1 out, and now the batter, the cleanup hitter, Aramis Ramirez. Ball 1 up and away.
For a moment, I thought Roland was going to be the one that was going to get that ball and flip it on to second base. Just couldn't quite get there.
Ramirez has come on strong here after an early season thumb injury, which had his production way down. Now, Cowboy, we brought it up last night, but I think it is worth repeating again and asking you the question. Everybody around here can think they know Travis Wood, and I know you spent a lot of time with him and talk with him frequently. Well, the bottom line is we have never seen Travis Wood have to come back from a game where he got pounded in the major leagues.
Right.
7 runs is 4 innings is getting pounded. Whether they were cheap hits, dinks, dunks, it doesn't matter. 7 runs is 7 runs.
7 runs is 7
So
runs.
it is a legitimate question to wonder, how will he respond this his very next start?
I think that there is, you know, that comes from your belly and it comes from your heart. And I know there has been other times where Travis Wood early in the season has been hit awfully hard in the minor leagues. And he has come back and pitched phenomenal baseball. We saw him in spring training. He had some situations where he would get himself into bases loaded situations and have 1 out or no outs, and some way, fashion, or form end up with a strikeout and a double play.
2-2 the count on Aramis Ramirez, and there's a ground ball again that seemingly is just finding holes. And another infield hit. Wow. Back-to-back infield hits in almost the identical spot.
Well, as I said earlier, this is what started one of the rallies in San Francisco, was a lot of infield hits. But you look up on the board, and if you're Travis Wood, you think to yourself, okay, I've had 2 ground balls. Both of them have been in a place where they could not get a double play. I've just got to continue to make pitches here, get another ground ball, and I'm out of this inning with a double play. You got 1 out on the board. You're 1 pitch away from getting out of the inning.
Xavier Nady, the batter, and looks at a ball down and in. And Paul Giannis here. Now, this is 3 batters in a row. And it's not second guessing, but for whatever reason, Giannis continues to really cheat towards the second base bag. And, you know, had he been, say, 2 or 3 steps over at normal shortstop positioning, maybe he's able to get to those balls.
And I think one of the reasons that he cheats towards second base is because of the double play. If anybody hits the ball off the end of the bat and it goes the other way and he's playing in the hole, he can't get to second base. So he's got to play in a position where he can get the double play. The issue here is, should Roland move maybe towards the hole a little bit?
1-1 account on Nady, and a slow breaking ball drops in there to get ahead at 1 ball and 2 strikes. Well, the bottom line is they're loaded with only 1 out here in the Chicago first inning. Now, Nady has bounced into 10 double plays in rather limited playing time this year. And Wood would love to ring up number 11. Still 1 ball and 2 strikes. Oh, that got Ramon Hernandez on that exposed bare right hand. Wow.
And that's one of the reasons that you hang your hand down relaxed. You can see his hand hanging there just relaxed. He's not tensing it up at all. And they teach you to do that so that when the ball does hit your hand, it's relaxed and it's not tensed up, and you don't usually have a broken bone. The ball just slaps off the side of it.
One and 2 the count on Xavier Nady. And he chases a fastball up. That's where Hernandez wanted it. And that's strike 3 for the second out of the inning.
If you see Hernandez right before this pitch, he pauses and gives him a little bit higher target. And that is exactly where Travis Wood throws the baseball. Sets up outside, and you could see the hand that just got hit from Hernandez motion up, up, up. And he puts it right on the money. What a big strikeout.
So 2 away in the inning for the left fielder Alfonso Soriano. One more big out to get for Travis Wood here in the first inning. And there's strike 1.
And I think this is where everybody really gets to see Travis Wood in a situation after, like you said, Tom, he gets hammered as far as runs go in San Francisco, and you come right back and you have a miserable situation here in the first inning, and he gets a huge strikeout on a very difficult hitter in Nady, and now he's got Soriano up there with no easier task to be done here.
One and one on Soriano, and I don't know where that missed. That looked pretty good from here, but it's called ball 2.
Tried to drop that changeup just a bit off the plate away, and from our angle it looked pretty good.
2 balls and a strike on Alfonso Soriano, and now it's ball 3. Castro, Bird, Ramirez aboard with 2 outs. 3 and 1 to Soriano. And he swings and fouls it back out of play. The count is full.
Sometimes you got to grit your teeth and say, here it is, see if you can hit it.
25 pitches so far in this opening inning for Travis Wood. And he's hoping the next pitch will shut down the Cubs' scoring chances in this opening inning and leave them loaded. High fly ball, left center field, room for Drew Stubbs. How about Travis Wood?
Never doubted for a minute.
The Cincinnati Bell starting lineup for Dusty Baker. Drew Stubbs back in that leadoff spot for the first time since early May. Chris Blake at second, Joey Votto at first. Scott Rowland, the cleanup hitter at third, Jay Bruce in right, Chris Heisey in left. And the latter third of Ramon Hernandez, Paul Janisch, and Travis Wood. The Reds get their first look at Casey Coleman.
Coleman, a third-generation big leaguer. How about that? His dad, Joe, was an all-star for the Tigers back in '72. His grandfather was an all-star back in '48. And now here's Casey, drafted in 2008. Already in the big leagues as a starting pitcher. Not overpowering, just moves the ball in and out and has a good idea about what he wants to do with the baseball. Doesn't walk a whole lot of folks.
Ball one to Drew Stubbs, a .238 batter, 15 home runs and 59 runs batted in. Of course, Coleman comes from a baseball family. We've talked about it the last time we saw him in relief a little less than a month ago. His father, Joe, pitched professionally from 1965 to 1979. Was a National American League All-Star with the Tigers in 1972. And then Casey had a grandfather, also named Joe, who had a 10-year major league career from the early 40s through the mid-50s and also was an all-star. Extra base hit to begin the Reds' first inning off the bat of Drew Stubbs.
You look at the turn of Coleman in the sinking fastball, and Stubbs, that pitch is right down his alley as you see him turn and spin on it. That ball was by Aramis Ramirez. But watch the turn of Coleman as he spins all the way around. What he's trying to do is make up for a lack of velocity by hiding the baseball as much as he can and trying to get as much movement as he can. But you still got to throw it over that little white dish where the batters stand.
So now it'll be Chris Valaika, and he tries to move the runner over with a bunt and fouls it away. Chris has started all 3 games in place of the injured Brandon Phillips at second base in this series. Has 4 hits and 11 at bats, a home run and a double.
The first go round for the Reds batters, they've got to see Coleman and see how much that ball really runs in off the plate.
Well, you can't roll it out there any better than that, and that'll be a sacrifice for Valaika, advancing Stubbs down to third. Let's take a look at Chicago on defense, presented as always by Ford. Marlon Byrd in center, flanked by Soriano and Fukudome. The only change in the infield at second base, Jeff Baker replacing Blake DeWitt. And again, Giovanni Soto back behind the plate. And here comes Joey Votto. Votto leading the National League in hitting at .326. Second in home runs, has 32 of those. Second, Albert Pujols. And he's second in RBI to Albert Pujols. 92 runs batted in. Pujols hit another home run and knocked in, 3 more last night.
You couldn't draw up a first inning any better for Joey Votto right here.
Well, he'll get the job done. A ground out, 1-0 Reds. 93rd run batted in for Joey Votto.
Very difficult to strike out. Votto's got one thing on his mind, and that's making contact and getting the run in from third base there.
So a very good way to get it started. The double, a sacrifice, a ground out, and a 1-0 lead.
Not a bad leadoff spot, huh?
Well, the leadoff spot in this series, has been really good. Now, Jay Bruce
not too bad.
Had a walk, hit 3 home runs in the opener. Jay walked his first time up last night, had a single, struck out his next 2 times up, but was on base 2 more times. And now Stubbs is only at bat today in that leadoff spot for the first time, as we mentioned earlier, since May the 5th. He doubles and scores a run.
Well, it just goes to show you how much damage Brandon Phillips has been able to do in that leadoff spot, leading the National League in runs scored. Couldn't ask your guy to do much more than that.
Lined into center, and that's it. End of 1. Reds lead 1-0.
Serious lawyers for serious injuries. Call 1-800-HELP-OHIO. Today, it's the schedule. Chicago, you see the numbers there. Cueto, we've seen him pitch. Arroyo yesterday, Wood today. So this is what it's going to look like when you drop into St. Louis. Arroyo will be here, Wood there, Bailey here. I don't think there's any more question now.
Reds lead 1-0 as they take the field defensively behind Travis Wood here in the top of the second inning. You know, Cowboy, I got a question for you.
Yes.
And obviously, you know, your day to pitch is your day to pitch. And depending on off days, you know, whether you go every 4 days, every 5 days, sometimes because of an off day every 6 days, sometimes guys get bumped, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's 2-0 on Giovanni Soto. I'm not sure the word is disappointed, but I'll use it anyway. Would you have liked to have seen Johnny Cueto start in that St. Louis series? All things being equal.
All things being equal, yes. But the last thing that I would want to have happen right now for Cueto is for somebody to get crazy in St. Louis and take a pot shot at Cueto and hit him in a place that would put him out for the rest of the season. And I would, if I was on the other team and I was facing Johnny Cueto and he had put somebody on my team out, that would be one of the things I would be thinking about. And the last thing I think this club needs is for Cueto to be hit or hurt or have another brawl and other suspensions or things that got even nastier than what they got here.
A rocket right at Valleca, and they're unable to double up Soto. Well, Fukudome allowed out the first one here in the second inning, and now it's a pitcher, Casey Coleman.
Fukudome is flat out a first or second pitch swinger. Boy, he's up there hacking. I might try to bounce a few to him.
Coleman, 1 out of 7 is a batter with an RBI.
I think what you're talking about, Tom, is having your best 3 pitchers going against St. Louis, and I understand that. And without what had happened here the last series against St. Louis, then I think there would be no doubt that Cueto would be one of the starting pitchers in that 3-game series. But because of the issues and because of the fact that Jason LaRue is now out for the rest of the season, basically because Cueto kicked him in the face, I think you're running a big risk putting Cueto in the batter's box against a Cardinal pitcher. Sooner or later, if things get to the point in the playoffs where you're going to have to face him, you bite the bullet. But maybe not now.
And of course, there is still very much the possibility that the Reds and the Cardinals could both make the playoffs. They go to second and they cut down Giovanni Soto. And again, as we brought up earlier, Cowboy, you brought it up earlier, Wood, among many, many things, is just an excellent athlete and a very good defender once the ball comes out of his hand.
And all you're really trying to do here as a pitcher, you just get to the baseball right over here, pick it up, set your feet, and make a strike throw to second base. If you try to get in too much of a hurry, you throw the thing out in left center field. Then it's a merry-go-round.
Jeff Baker led off the game with a single into right field. Cubs left them loaded in that first inning, and the Reds come right back and score a run in the bottom half, and that's where we are in the second. Wood falling behind 2-0. Travis having a hard time with command very early on in this game today. Of the first 10 batters to come to the plate against Wood today, only 4 times has Travis thrown a first pitch strike. That's generally not his MO.
Well, I think what Travis is going to understand as time goes on, that his stuff is good enough to pitch his game against whether you face a club once, twice, or 15 times.
2-1 on Jeff Baker. In the air, and it appears to be playable just out of the reach of Otto. Mississippi, not more than 3, 4, 5 inches.
It's amazing how Votto gets over there against that rail and holds his glove until the last second and just snaps it out there. If they're snapping turtles. Gotcha.
Do you have snapping turtles down in Mississippi?
Millions.
You ever been nipped by one?
But I've caught plenty of bass that had a big old honk out of the side of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, can't eat those. Nasty.
2-2 to count on Jeff Baker. And that one, again, is out of play.
I think Baker's the only guy in this lineup that actually has a home run for the Cubs against Wood. And I think it was a hanging breaking ball that Baker hit out of the ballpark.
Yeah, Baker only has 4 home runs all year, and you can remember 2 of them. Because one of them was against Arthur Rhodes the very first weekend of the season. And, of course, then Arthur went on that scoreless inning streak before he allowed another one of over 30 innings. And then the home run you mentioned Baker had against Wood.
Let's just see the ball out of the left-hander's hand pretty good.
3-2 to count. The runner Coleman will get a short lead and an early start. And there's another base hit in the exact same spot for Baker as he had an inning ago. So now Wood in trouble for a second straight frame.
No, you don't want to walk the guy, especially when you've got the pitcher standing over there. And you don't want to get yourself in a position where you get in the middle of the lineup like you were back in the first inning with the runners all over the place. But with 2 outs here, just go get Starlin Castro.
Castro bounced into a fielder's choice on a comebacker to Wood his first time up. And that fastball is high, ball 1. A 26-pitch first inning for Travis Wood. He's already thrown 17 here in the second inning. And a 1-0 delivery with 2 on. It's 2-0.
And that's where Wood makes his living, is cutting that ball inside on the right-handed hitters. But where he also gets himself into trouble is finding that release point so that when the ball does cut in, it's in the spot where you either get a swing or you get a strike call. Wood is always going to be the kind of guy when you come out early in the ball game. If you don't have a team that's aggressive in the swinging in the strike zone, he's going to have some early pitch counts that get a little bit elevated until you get smoothed out later in the ball game.
2-1. And a little flare into shallow center. Stubbs coming hard, not going to get it. And why the throw in the third? You wondered initially, as Rowland was able to get there in time to move up away from the bag, and they cut down the runner to end the inning, but the run does count to tie the game at 1. Shakely goes to the Reds Community Fund. Shakely, it's done.
Watch Baker here as he comes around from first base on this bloop into center field. You're watching Casey Coleman come around to score. Baker stops, even though he would have been safe had he gone on to third base back. The throw's coming in from Stubbs. He makes the right throw. But what is Baker doing? Had he gone on to third base, he would have been safe. What he's doing is he's looking at the runner crossing home plate, knowing that there's 2 outs. Had he been tagged out before the run comes across home plate, the run doesn't count. So that's the reason that he stopped.
Although I got to tell you, that's why my initial reaction was about the throw going into third is, why are you throwing the ball there? You're never going to throw that guy out.
And he wouldn't have been out had he not stopped. Normally, that throw should go to second base to keep the runner from first advancing.
Well, it turned out well, but the Cubs do tie the game. It's 1-1 with Jay Bruce leading things off here in the second inning. Jay at 270, 16 home runs. 3 of those came on Friday night. And he has 55 runs batted in. This time behind nothing at 2. The Cardinals and the Nationals are just underway in D.C., and we'll let you know what's going on with that one throughout the afternoon. Oh, 2 to Jay Bruce. Misses low and in. Coleman got his first major league win on this road trip that began in Washington on the 23rd of August. It was a 9-1 Cubs victory. And he threw the ball very well. He only allowed 1 hit through the first 6 innings of the game. Wound up allowing 3 hits and a run in 6 1/3 innings. And he also had an RBI single, his first major league hit and his first run batted in. High fly ball, short right center, got it off the end. And coming in to get it, Fukudome 1 away. We'll represent the C and watch inside Bearcats football preview right after our game today here on Fox Sports Ohio. Presented by Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Honda dealers. Will it be back-to-back-to-back Big East Conference championships for the UC Bearcats under their first-year head coach Butch Jones? You'll learn more today on Fox Sports Ohio. We'll be rooting for him, we know that.
When the Reds saw Coleman the first time, it was only out of the bullpen, and it was only for a short period of time. I think it's going to take at least one time through the lineup before they get used to this guy.
That one is dumped down the right field line, and Heisey all the way breaking for 2. Here comes the throw, and he is in there safely with a hustling double. You don't realize till you watch Heisey play semi-regularly, he runs very well. Not Stubbs well, but very well.
Well, he gets a sinking fastball right on his knuckles, and he's able to fist it out into right field to a point where Fukudome can't get to the baseball. And with the play right in front of you, instinct takes over. You know whether you can make it to second base or not.
Fourth 2-base hit in the young career of Chris Heisey, and now it'll be the number 7 hitter, Ramon Hernandez, at 299. Ramon 6 home runs and 41 runs batted in.
This is where Hernandez has been awfully clutch for the Reds. Whether it be no outs, 2 outs, you get a guy out at second base and he's at the plate, he's usually getting him in.
Hernandez this year a .354 batter to back up what Jeff just said with runners in scoring position. And has a very big right side of the infield to shoot it through.
And that is his favorite spot. Both he and Orlando Cabrera, who's on the DL right now, that is the side of the infield they use most often.
Speaking of Orlando Cabrera, he is hoping, and apparently said after the game yesterday, before the game yesterday, that he is hoping to be back in the lineup Friday in St. Louis. Apparently, to borrow his term, he sort of hit a plateau coming back from this injury. He's all right swinging it back. He's okay running, but apparently still feels a slight pull around the ribcage area when he throws the ball.
So it doesn't hurt. It just feels like it's there. It's something that normally he hasn't felt before, but now he does.
2-0 pitch. And it's back up through the middle into center field. And that's Ramon Hernandez stepping up when they need him once again. A run-scoring single, and the Reds have the lead again. Boy, he has been so good here over the last month and a half since coming back off the DL.
Well, early in the season, his nickname was Money for Ramone. Now it's Money, because when a guy's standing at second base and he gets a chance, he's cashing in.
Reds have an option, I believe, on the contract of Hernandez for next season. And that's certainly something they'll be thinking long and hard about. But once you get through this year, hopefully a long run through the postseason, and then start making some decisions. The two guys we've heard most about as far as that is concerned, with the clubs holding an option, the two guys that have been around here longer than anybody, Aaron Harang and Bronson Arroyo. The team will have to decide whether they'll pick up both, one, or none of those options.
Well, it's hard to believe that they'll pick them both up simply because you've got so much young pitching and young starting pitching with experience now.
0-1 to Paul Giannis, and he got jammed with a pitch and floats it over the screen. He's behind 0-2.
This should really be a guy that Giannis handles pretty well, especially with the ball coming to him from a sinker type ball pitcher. With that ball running in towards him, it's usually the ball he handles the best.
In the air, short left field. Castro goes out. Soriano calls him off coming in. And Hernandez stays put there, 2 away.
Travis Wood, not a bad athlete. Matter of fact, one of the first hits he got was a triple. He can run a little bit now. He may be one of the faster guys on this ball club.
I think you're right. Were you ever a fast runner?
No.
That'd be pretty cool to be able to run like Drew Stubbs, wouldn't it?
No kidding. My legs aren't that long. His legs are longer than my whole body.
How'd you like to run like that?
I mean, that's gazelle-like. For every step that he takes running, I mean, I don't know how many steps that take me, probably about 15.
Fastball up and into Travis, evens the count of 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Why is it when you see a guy that is fast and they can run like he runs, it almost looks as though it's effortless? They're just flying.
Bouncer cut off by the second baseman Baker, and that will end the inning. But the Reds have scored for a second straight inning and lead 2-1.
and another testament is the fact that a AAA club is in the playoffs, and that you look at that club. Usually a AAA club is filled with 6-year free agents and veteran guys. We've got a AAA team of prospects, and I've heard that comment from a lot of different GMs and scouts from around the league that they're just amazed at the number of prospects we have at AAA that are Major League ready.
Our Geico direct quote from the Reds Senior Vice President of Baseball Operations, Walt Jocketty, part of Reds Live before the ball game here last night.
That is a wonderful problem to have. But out of all those prospects and all of the guys that you have on the Major League roster, you can only protect 40 of them. And the Reds have more than that. When you've got more than that many, more than 40 prospects, then that's usually when you're going to have to either move a couple of them in a trade for someone else, or you may lose them. And the Reds don't want to do that.
Well, Marlon Byrd to lead things off against Travis Wood. The Reds have a 2-1 lead here in the top of the 3rd inning.
Be nice for Wood to have a quick inning here.
Yes.
He's had a couple of rough ones.
Cubs had the bases loaded in the 1st inning. Wood got out of it, retiring Soriano on a fly ball to center for the final out. They had 2 on, 2 outs before a bloop single by Castro tied the game. But the Reds come right back in the bottom of the inning and recapture the lead. It's 2-1. 0-2 on Marlon Byrd.
Well, the Cubs have not hit the ball hard. They've just hit it in places where the Reds haven't been.
Wood needed 46 pitches to make it through the first 6 outs of this game. One and 2 on Marlon Byrd. Foul tipped and into the mid of Ramon Hernandez, and that's the 2nd strikeout of the day for Travis Wood. Sunday's always big family day here at the ballpark, Cowboy, and thank God my family's able to drive about 12 minutes down the road and come on down and say hi, although my daughter apparently is camera shy. Ella.
That's all right.
There she is. She's coming over by you.
Come on back, baby. Come on up here.
And their friend Luke Rubin hanging out with his Buckeyes lid on, looking good.
Well, I'll get to go see mine tonight.
And I know you're excited.
Yes, I am.
And my little man Luke here, he just bellies right up, pushes his way in, grabs the headphones. Yeah, I know you're on TV. I know. You can tell all your girlfriends at school on Monday. No, swung on and fouled out of place. He's going to get mad at me. He doesn't like that.
Look at that.
Hey, who's that right there?
Who's that?
That's Daddy. Yeah. After Luke and I were doing a little skimboarding. You know, recreational family fun. Skimboarding. Looped into left center field, and Drew Stubbs will run it down. Or as Luke, my son, likes to call him, Stubby, runs it down.
Well, Stubby runs like a gazelle. We were just talking about speed. You can't teach somebody to be able to do that. You may be able to teach them where to play and how to read a swing, but that's just straight talent to be able to run and get a ball that's not hit that hard and it's not in the air that long and put them away.
So 2 away in the inning, and Xavier Nady digging in. Pitch misses outside. Nady struck out. It was a big out for Travis Wood in the 1st inning. Nady came up with the bases loaded at the time and only 1 out. And Wood got that strikeout before retiring Soriano. And a ground ball under the glove of a diving Paul Yanish. A 2-out single for Nady will keep the inning alive for Soriano.
Well, this has been the day for Travis Wood and the infielders for the Reds, just out of the reach of Paul Yanish. Yanish is going to have a dirty uniform by the end of this day. He has spent more time on the ground diving for baseballs than he has standing.
So now Soriano, and a breaking ball is a little bit high. In the air, short right center. Valleca backing up. Jay says, I got it. Inning over. 1 hit, 1 left. So it was an easier inning for Wood. He has a 2-1 lead after 2.5. Classic September 12th and the 13th takes place at Belterra Casino Resort and Spa. It's a 2-day golf event and a great event. You get a concert, you get a dinner hosted by Beacon Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. All the proceeds benefit the Reds Community Fund and all the great work they do all over Reds country, not just here in Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky, but throughout the entire region. To find out more about playing, Reds.com/MartyGolf. Top of the order for the Reds as they bat here in the 3rd inning with a 2-1 lead against Casey Coleman and the Cubs. Cardinals and Nationals, no score. That game in the top of the 2nd inning. I believe that's Adam Wainwright starting that game today for St. Louis.
It's a pretty good changeup there by Coleman. As you see Stubbs step out of the box for a few moments, he almost lost the handle on the bat when he swung.
You know, there was a very interesting article written in one of the St. Louis papers today about the individual awards that could be coming to players on the St. Louis Cardinals roster. And could they have a pitcher to win the Cy Young, Adam Wainwright? Could they have a player win an MVP and a triple crown in Albert Pujols? And then have Jaime Garcia win the Rookie of the Year? Have all that on one team in 1 year, yet not make the playoffs.
Could happen.
The closest thing to anything like that in recent memory was, I believe it was 2005, when the Cardinals had the league MVP and the Cy Young Award winner. 06. There's a base hit through the hole in the left field by Stubbs. His 2nd hit. Back in that leadoff spot, he fell down, getting close to the first base bag. We saw Blake DeWitt do that 2 nights ago. And hopefully Drew's all right.
Same exact spot that DeWitt went down in. That spot that's right there on the corner is the same spot that DeWitt slipped in, and it's the same spot that Stubbs slipped in. And it looks as though it's a grassy area, and the grass is just coming out from underneath them.
You know, to finish a thought about 2006, that's when the Cardinals had the Cy Young Award winner and the MVP, Chris Carpenter and Albert Pujols. The Minnesota Twins that same year had the MVP and Justin Morneau and the Cy Young Award winner, Johan Santana. Both of those teams made the playoffs.
Well, I think it shows you in this game that you can have 3, 4 guys on your ball club that have tremendous years, and it doesn't help you make it.
Shallow center field. Marlon Byrd will run it down to fire into first, but Stubbs able to get back safely.
And you and I were talking about how many players have actually contributed to this Reds ball club this year. I mean, it's been in the mid-30s.
And the point of the article was, outside of the fact that it was pointing out some of those individual awards I was just talking about, that, you know, every time Albert Pujols is asked about the Triple Crown or asked about an MVP or asked the other night about hitting his 400th home run, how his answers, much like Joey Votto, when Jeff Picorro or Jim Day will ask him after a game about some of his individual feats and accomplishments, both guys always talk about the team. Always talk about the team.
Right.
And how important it was for the team to play well that particular night. Forget the fact that, you know, Pujols or Votto might knock in 4 or 5 runs, hit a couple of home runs in a game. But they always talk about the importance of the team winning the game.
Well, the accolades and all of the trophies and the hardware and everything, that's all fine and good once you're out of the game. But it really doesn't do a whole lot for you if you're at home and in the middle of the season and everybody else is still playing in October. And especially when you know you were just a little bit away.
Into left center field, it'll fall a base hit. Stubbs will easily go first to third. And here come the Reds for a 3rd straight inning against Casey Coleman.
Left this one up to Votto, and he just shoots it out to left center field. And well, you can really see Votto look at his head. His head is right on the baseball as he lets it loose. Look at the ear flap there. He doesn't even let it go. And when you see the whole helmet stuck straight down on the bat and on the contact of the ball, it's amazing. I mean, how do you keep it down? I mean, you could see his head right here in this spot is looking straight down on the baseball, and then the baseball comes off the bat. He still has not looked up to see where the ball is going to this point. Now he looks. Well, you're talking about staying down and through the baseball. That's Joey Votto.
So now they're on the corners for Scotty Rowland. Reds trying to add to this 2-1 lead here in the bottom of the 3rd inning, and a fastball is on the inside corner, strike 1. Rowland fly to center field, his first time up.
This would be a big at bat for Rowland here to get at least 1 run in and continue to give Wood that cushion.
It appears to be the kind of day, and things can change, you know, in a hurry. But with a pitch count already for Travis Wood, probably 6 might be about it for him today.
And I think coming into the ball game, that was the target number anyway.
That one driven to straightaway center field, plenty deep enough to bring in Stubbs from third. RBI by Rowland. 3-1 Reds. Rowland RBI number 74. Let's take a look at our AT&T trivia question for today. Since 1980, how many Reds relievers have led the National League in saves? I believe you're one of them, Cowboy.
Yes, sir.
That was a very lackluster yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Very nice. Jay Bruce, the batter, 1 on, 2 out, 1 in. Tapper right at Xavier Nady to retire the side. But another run, 2 more hits. Reds have scored single runs in each of the front 3 and lead 3-1. JTM, food, family fun. JTM. By Geico, 15 minutes can save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. And by GMC. We are professional grade. Well, our distinguished director, Roy Alpers, tell me he just opened up that business right there. He calls it the Kentucky Tour Boat along the banks of the Ohio.
I'd love to be that guy with the cowboy hat sitting on the right side of that boat there.
First pitch swinging off the end of the bat, but hooked into left field by Giovanni Soto. Cubs are down 3-1 to the Reds as we begin the fourth inning. Soto has walked and now singled. And we remind you each and every day, if a Reds player hits one of the Toyota Tundra signs, Jerry Mercer Jr. of Goshen, Ohio, will win the beautiful new Tundra on display here at Great American Ballpark. And you can still register for your chance to win at an upcoming game by stopping by one of your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. How many lines did they have out on that boat?
Looked like 8.
Well, that's nice.
First pitch swinging Fukudome. He wanted to.
And you get a tour of the Commonwealth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 of them. That's nice. Very nice. Got the cowboy hat on there, cowboy.
Yeah.
How about that?
I told you I'd love to be out there. Rocking around on that boat.
Fly ball to right field. Jay Bruce is there for the first out of the inning. Do you pride yourself as a fisherman along with being a cowboy?
Yes, I love to fish, and I wonder what kind of fish they're catching out there. I don't do any of that kind of fishing. On the bank of the river. Boy, looks like he's got something.
Which one?
Right there. Oh, he's hung up. Clown.
Well, now, come on. Everybody can get hung up. Come on.
Not on national TV.
Yeah, but he doesn't know he's on national TV. Everybody gets hung up on something every now and again, right?
Yeah, I guess. Sorry.
You get hung up on ribs.
Oh, that's a good thing to get hung up on. I was watching that barbecue show last night. What time did they,
what?
Time do they close?
Look at this. He's bringing it in there, cowboy.
You got something? No.
I think he does. He does. Popped up in the air, and it'll bounce foul. Okay.
I wonder if them boys got some Penn Station out there with them. That'd be good to have over at the side.
Oh, yeah.
Killing it. I know I was killing it in here yesterday.
We have a little puppy down there. Or is that a little wiener dog?
It's called a dachshund.
Yeah, a dachshund.
Wiener dog.
Well, that's what they call him.
They call him a dachshund.
Well, that's the technical name. That is bounced foul. And that's strike 3 to Coleman. So he's unable to advance a runner with a bunt. Second time they've asked him to do it the second time, but he's failed.
Well, he didn't have one coming into the game, and he doesn't have one now.
That's 3 strikeouts on the afternoon for Travis Wood. So with a runner at first base and now 2 outs, we'll go back to the leadoff man for a third time of the game, Jeff Baker. Baker 2 for 2 with a pair of singles into right field.
I think the big thing for Wood here is to get an out on this batter right now and keep that pitch count below 70 going out of this inning.
Pulled foul out of play, strike 1. The Washington Nationals have taken a 2-0 lead over the Cardinals. That game in the bottom of the second inning. Two and 1 on Baker.
You know, sometimes I don't know what's harder, playing catch up or holding on to the first place spot. I guess it just depends on players you got on your club.
Well, you know, I don't know. I mean, I've never played on a team. Certainly watched a lot of teams that have been in one spot or the other. I got to believe for a Cowboy at the end of the day that playing catch up has to be hard, doesn't it? I mean, really, at the end of the day,
I think there's pressure in both situations. I think from the mental side, could go either way. I think it really comes down to the guys that you have on the field. Because when you're playing catch up, there's a chance to put more pressure on yourself to do well. Same thing with holding on to first place.
Well, there's ball 4. So Wood is really making it hard on himself here today. It looks like he'll get through an inning without a lot of pitches, be in a pretty good position. Then all of a sudden, something has happened. He's still only allowed the 1 run. But that pitch count just hit number 70 that you referred to a moment ago. So now you face Castro, more than capable of giving Chicago the lead with 1 crack of the bat. He knocked in a run with a 2-out single in the 2nd inning. But a fly ball to right field this time will end the 4th, and the Reds still lead it 3-1. Cowboy, I can't believe you called the guy. What'd you call him for getting tangled up?
Clown.
Beauty. Reds.com to order, the place to do it. Reds come to bat, bottom of the 4th inning in this a decisive game of this 3-game series. A very warm day. We've had unseasonably cool weather here for the last 3, 4, 5 days, but today it's steamy.
You get that ammonia towel, ice cold, cool you down a little bit, keep you focused. Well, there were days when we had that turf over there, Riverfront. Oh my goodness, you're talking about hot.
In the air and playable, and foul ground up the first base line. Coming down to get it is Nady. And Chris Heisey retired to start the Reds' 4th inning. Time to answer our Aflac trivia question. We know one of the names on this list is the Cowboy Jeff Brantley. What about the others? Are there others?
Jeff Shaw's one of them.
And John Franco. Johnny Franco, of course, traded for Randall Kirk Myers. Take a look at the Cowboy in '96. That was sealing off the playoff division series, wasn't it?
I believe so.
What do you mean you believe so? How many of those were you on the mound to clinch? I mean, come on. There's a base hit into center field by Ramon Hernandez. He's 2 for 2 with an RBI today.
I couldn't tell what that was.
Well,
there was a lot of those.
Yeah, I know, but not a lot of this. That's beating the Dodgers in 95, right? The playoffs?
That is correct.
In the opening round.
It definitely was not beating the Braves.
That's for sure. So now Paul Giannis, he popped up to shallow left field his first time up. That breaking ball got away from Coleman there for ball 1. By the way, the 2 runs scored by the Nationals against Adam Wainwright in the second inning came off the bat of the pitcher John Lannan. A 2-run single. And that's where they stand with the Cardinals now batting in the third inning.
And you talk, Tom, about being in the playoffs and getting a chance to play in the World Series. And for the guys that are down there in that first base dugout, you can't hope for anything more than that for those guys. You just hope they get a chance to step into the playoffs, especially this early in their career, because there's nothing like it. It changes the way you go about your business. It changes the way your off season is. It changes the way you approach the game. I mean, you don't take anything for granted after that.
You're not lying. So a 2-away in the inning, allowed out by Giannis. And that'll bring up Travis Wood. Sinking liner will fall in front of Fukudome. Travis Wood has his third major league hit. Hernandez on to second base, and now Drew Stubbs will get a chance. Already with a double, a single, and 2 runs scored today.
We talked about the young pitchers, but we did not talk about just their pure athletic ability. You look at Mike Leake and his ability to swing the bat and also field his position, run the bases. We talked about the speed of Travis Wood. Had a triple earlier this year. Just makes contact there and shoots it out into right field.
Stubbs a double up the third base line in the first inning, was bunted to third and scored on a ground out by Joey Votto. Had a single to begin the third inning, went to third on a 1-out single by Joey, and scored on a sac fly to center by Scott Rowland. 1-1 to Drew Stubbs.
A little 2-out thunder. This nice, beautiful Sunday afternoon.
Breaking ball away, and Stubbs does not chase it. 2 balls and a strike to Drew Stubbs. Hernandez a runner at second base. Travis Wood on at first. 2 outs. Way inside. 3 balls and a strike.
.328 average in August. That's pretty solid.
Fly ball into right field, and this ought to do it. The Reds strand 2, and at the end of 4, it's still Cincinnati 3, the Cubs 1. Joey Votto. Hitting home run number 32 in a game last night, but the Reds came up 1 run short in a 3-2 defeat. Today they lead by 2. 3-1 game. Cowboy, you've had your eye on those fishermen along the banks of the Ohio.
I want to know what they're catching.
Well, there's some catfish out there. You know that for sure.
There is catfish?
Oh, yeah. Good eating.
I like catfish from Mississippi.
Those guys are taking a break, and you thought maybe they should. You had some very insightful fishing tips for all of us in between innings.
Well, at home right now, it's hot. You got to fish in some different places if you're going to catch them on direct sunlight. You got to get up under the trees. You got to get up under the limbs where there's a little bit of shade. That's where the fish are.
See, now they know they're on TV. Now, I wonder if they know or if someone has told them that you referred to one of them, and I'm not sure which one, as a clown.
Yeah. He's right over there.
I know you did say, though, that you like the little shade they created there.
I think it's a
little umbrella.
Better than being out there and just about to pass out. Boys can take a break. I bet those guys out there on that boat wish they had one of those little twirly-Q umbrellas.
Pardon me?
Well, I just made up.
Run that by me again.
Twirly-Q umbrella.
Twirly-Q.
Looks like it ought to be in a drink.
Oh, yeah. Now I know.
You know, like a pina colada. Is there a song about that?
If you like pina coladas. And on it goes.
I think that's Garth.
No, it's not Garth. That's not. Although he may have a song that has that in there.
2 pina coladas. One for each hand.
You know what? He might.
I believe he does. He is a friend.
That is a fair ball up the right field line off the bat of Marlon Byrd. And he's in with a double to start things in the Chicago 5th inning.
Boy, Bird never slowed up as he took his turn around first base. And knowing Jay Bruce in right field is going to come up with a cannon, he was hustling all the way.
Runner at second for Aramis Ramirez. He has an infield hit and a fly ball to center, and now a pop up to Joey Votto. And that is out number 1. Let's check in with our good buddy Jim Day.
Tom, a big congratulations going out to our very own Jeff Brantley. On Tuesday, it will be announced that he will be inducted into the State of Mississippi Hall of Fame. He will join greats like Jerry Rice. Jeff Brantley was quoted recently as saying, "At least I beat Brett Favre because he's still playing." Congratulations, Jeff Brantley.
Congratulations indeed, young man.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. You got to be very excited, right?
I am very excited.
Yeah, you should be.
It's going to be a very fun event. Family's excited, and so am I.
Jerry Rice now. That's tall cotton there, young man.
There's quite a few that are in there that are tall cotton.
But Rice is the biggest. I mean, right, you're talking about arguably the greatest player, some would say. Now it's a jam shot into shallow center field, and it falls in front of Stubbs. Bird will advance on the 3rd. And the Cubs have him on the corners down 3-1 here in the 5th inning with only 1 out.
Another blue pit ball off the bat of one of the Cub players. And with 1 out, Woods is in a position now again where he's got to look for the double play or the strikeout.
That is 9 hits and 2 walks, 11 base runners through 4 1/3 innings against Travis Wood, and remarkably, he's only allowed still 1 run. Now Alfonso Soriano, a fly ball to center and a fly ball to right. He's 0 for 2. Strike 1. The Nationals now lead 4-0 over the Cardinals. Washington batting in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Pulled foul and Wood ahead of Soriano, 0-2.
What's amazing that the Nationals have been able to do what they've done against that Cardinal pitching. Ton of runs last night, and they're putting some more on the board today.
Michael Morse just hitting a 2-run home run to the seats in left field off Adam Wainwright, tacking on 2 more runs to that Washington lead. The Nationals knocked around Chris Carpenter pretty good the other night. Now, that was a game that Carpenter did not figure in the decision of, that 13-inning game. Fastball up high, and Soriano doesn't chase it. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Garcia came back to pitch a solid game in their win last night. Or on Friday night, I beg your pardon. And the Nationals gave him a drilling last night. Down a left field line, and this will fall in a hit. And Travis Wood is in a world of trouble. It is a 3-2 game, and that's a double by Soriano.
Watch where the ball is. It's inside, up and in. Gets the ball in the air. But it just seems as though every time they put a ball into play, it's not on the line. It's just hitting in spots where nobody is at.
And I got to tell you, Cowboy, I mean, I am stunned. There is no one getting loose in the Reds bullpen.
Well, there is now.
Well, there is now.
But
I
just
mean,
started.
You know, the last 2 nights, you got 8 innings out of Cueto. On Friday night, you got 7 innings out of Arroyo last night. So there are some rested bodies down there right now. And here Wood has really been laboring from the very start of this game.
It's like Sam LeCure getting up.
.46 pitches in the first 2 innings alone. He allowed a 2-out hit in the 3rd, allowed a hit and a walk in the 4th, got out of that inning. And after a double by Marlon Byrd started this inning after getting Ramirez on a pop-up. Nady with a jam shot single, and now an RBI double by Soriano. And a broken bat roller will tie the game as Giannis throws out Soto. But scoring is Nady, and we begin anew at 3-3 here in the 5th. Intentionally walk Fukudome with a pitcher on deck.
I think in the back of Travis Wood's mind, as much as he works inside and gets hitters out inside, some way, fashion, or form, you've got to have something on the outside part of the plate that keeps guys from getting inside of that cut fastball that you're throwing in. Yeah, they haven't hit anything hard today, but they're putting a lot of balls in play. And his strikeout numbers are way down from what we normally see from him.
And the other problem for Wood today, of course, has been falling behind. Just not as sharp command-wise as we have seen him virtually every start he's made. He's faced 26 batters and only thrown a first-pitch strike to 11 of them. Well, this is a huge batter in this game right here and right now, and he started another hitter off ball 1. 3-3 game. The Cubs have scored twice in the inning, and they have him on the corners. And now it's 2-0.
He just laid that baby in there, didn't he?
2-1 on Coleman with runners at first and third. And there's one on the outside corner to even the count. So now Wood tries to end this fifth inning in a 3-3 tie. Reds will have Vallejo, Votto, and Roland coming up in the bottom of the inning. And that's it. 2 runs, 3 hits, 2 men left. Middle of the fifth, a 3-3 game, and now it's time for the Fifth Third Bank hardest workers in the game.
Jordan, other than team training, what do you do to keep yourself in baseball shape?
Well, in the off season, I'm working out at the gym, 5 days a week, a lot of leg workouts and upper body, and then usually on the weekends, I'm in the mountains hiking around and doing some hunting, so that keeps your legs in shape too.
Fifth Third Bank, the things we do for dreams.
Board out in left field. Ticket prices start at just $7, and for additional savings, plan a group outing of 25 or more. Always a great way to enjoy a game. Call 381-REDS or go to reds.com for more information about the Kroger bleachers or any ticket to any game remaining at Great American Ballpark. Cowboy, you take a look at the home schedule the rest of the way as the Reds, of course, are trying to get to the playoffs for the first time since 1995. And there are only 2 more homestands left.
Well, I was just looking at the games today. There are only 32 games left.
Yep.
And when you get into September, you can be assured that every team that you face is going to try to keep you from getting there. They are going to want to play spoiler regardless of who the team is, how good their year has been, who's on the mound, everybody, because you're going to have call-ups all over the place from Houston to Milwaukee to Pittsburgh, and they're going to want to show something to their major league managers.
Chris Vallejo to lead things off here in the inning. He'll be followed by Joey Votto and Scott Rowland.
The one thing that the Reds will have to keep all the way through this month of September and into the playoffs, if they're fortunate enough to get there, is that killer instinct that they possessed on that last road trip. To continue to battle and continue to fight, especially when you get in a situation like you are today where the lead goes back and forth.
Well, the Reds well aware that the Washington Nationals, yes, it's early in the game, but in the 4th inning already with a 4-0 lead over the Cardinals. You had a chance last night to gain more ground and perhaps a chance to gain a game today.
Well, you can look at these numbers, and this tells you a little bit about Coleman. And I don't know that it's the pitches, but this number right here is awfully high. And a lot of that has to do with fatigue and the mastery of the strike zone when you go through the lineup for the 3rd time.
High fly ball into left field will back up Soriano short of the track. He's got it, 1 out. That's why I get back to the topic we brought up earlier. If 10 minutes ago I'm a St. Louis Cardinal And a guy just hits a 2-run home run to put my team behind 4-0. And I'm looking on that board in the outfield and see that Cincinnati leads 3-1 at the time over the Cubs. You're gripping a lot more if you're a Cardinal than you're the Reds sitting here even at 3-3 looking out on that board and seeing the Cardinals trail.
You're correct.
The danger, of course, which I think is get back to the point you're making is you know, are you letting the foot off the pedal now?
See, that's what you can't do. And I don't think that the Reds will. But I think sometimes there are teams that are so used to being in first place that you get into September and they take it for granted, and you can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
You have to play harder in September than you've played in any other month you've been out there. Because your body's tired, number one, and you've got to really reach down deep into those off-season workouts, into those places that you've put yourself mentally in that you dreamed about, and you've got to continue to push forward.
Grounded behind the bag, handled easily by Nady, and they take care of the big bat of Joey Votto for the second out here in the 5th inning.
And that's one of the other things that you can't do is you can't rely on just Joey Votto or just one or two players to carry it. Everybody's got to carry their individual load, and that's really what has made this Reds club so good this year. They've had so many different guys to step up in big situations.
Scott Rowland trying to jump on a first pitch from Coleman, but fouls it back out of play. Scotty 0 for 1 and a sac fly to knock in a run to center field in the 3rd. Certainly some of the other big games of note as they pertain either to divisional races and or wild card races. Most of those teams outside of the Cardinals will be in action later on today or tonight. As Rowland has gone swinging, and that will retire the side. A 1-2-3 fifth. First of the game for Coleman. We're tied at 3.
With you, and we're scoreboard watching. The Washington Nationals hitting in the bottom of the 4th inning, and they're leading St. Louis 4-0. Pitcher John Lannon on the hill. He has a 2 RBI double in that game to add insult to injury to the Cardinals. So right now things looking okay as far as the Cardinals go. All right, time now for our Meyer text poll question of the day. And I know you guys have those fantasy people out there that are always bugging you to get in fantasy drafts. Our own Jeff Brantley is bugging us all the time. Hey, man, you got to play fantasy baseball, football, or fantasy nothing. We would like to know, what's your forte? Fantasy baseball, fantasy football, or 3 fantasy nothing? Text your votes at 37664. Standard text message rates apply. Well, the results coming up. Tom Brenneman.
Is there a fourth choice somewhere in that mix?
What's the fourth choice?
I don't know.
Fantasy basketball?
I don't know what it is.
Fantasy hockey? Fantasy announcing?
Yeah, maybe that was it. Sam LeCure takes over on the mound. Do you play all those games for real, Cowboy? I mean, are you a fantasy football guy?
My son is, and I help him sometimes.
Three game as Sam LeCure replaces Travis Wood. And some of the early results from our text poll question. I'm in the bottom there. I'm in the 46th percentile.
There you go.
On the ground to Valeka, and he'll throw out Baker. First time he's been retired today after a couple of hits and a walk.
LeCure threw the ball awfully well out in San Francisco. He pitched the last inning of the last ball game there. Struck out the side, if I'm not mistaken. And he really threw the ball well. Normally a starter for the most part, but now out of the bullpen, and he is throwing the ball better out of the pen than he did out of the rotation.
One out of the inning for Starlin Castro. Our good friend Dr. Timothy Kremchek stopping by to say hello today. Well, I got to give it up. You know, we talk about him all the time. We rib him. We give him a hard time. Doc Hollywood. You know, I walk in there and it's like walking in with the stars around the sporting world. They're all in town out there at Beacon Orthopedics up in Blue Ash. But when I broke my leg 2 weeks ago, all his folks over there, including Dr. Kremchek, have been awesome to work with literally every day. I mean, you go in there and you see, Cowboy, you know from all the surgeries you've had, you know, you see older people who messed up their shoulder and they're in there trying to get it right. You'll see professional athletes. You'll see youngsters. Saw a young man, his football player out of Lakota West High School, injured his hip, had hip surgery, and now he's back and he's going to play this year.
Well, the best thing is that the rehab folks that they have up there are always encouraging, always pushing you in the right direction, but not pushing you where it feels pushing.
Yeah.
You know, the only thing they're trying to do is help you and help you get better as soon as possible.
And you don't have to be a big professional athlete or have some kind of tie-in with a major league organization like you were or that we have.
Most people are not.
No, the overwhelming majority.
Athletes. They just are people that are outside of the athletic world that just happen to slip and fall or have an injury of any kind.
Yep. Oh, and to Marlon Byrd. So to Troy and to Shaw and to Hannah and to Julie and the others, thank you. I'll see you tomorrow.
Most of the time for Sam LeCure, even when he was starting, you could count on him throwing strikes with regularity.
You know, by the way, kudos to Dr. Kremchek. He just recently won the Ohio High School Athletic Association Medical Award for the best high school football team position out at Moeller High School. And Dr. Bob Berger, also from Beacon, won from LaSalle. Congratulations. That's nice stuff. Just like his dad, Dr. Kremchek. like Freeze came.
Watch the pitches from Travis Wood. Normally he's right on the money. The mid was down here, and he missed it all the way across the plate. Next spot, it's supposed to be right out here, and the ball's going to end up right over there. Backdoor, you want that pitch to come in this way, and he's going to leave it right up there. You're not missing by a lot, but you're missing just enough to where the Cubs were able to get the bats on the baseball. And that's why you had balls that were put into play, not hard hit balls, but they were put into play where the Reds could not get to the baseball.
And that was the Coors Light Freeze Can, brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. Jay Bruce leads things off against Casey Coleman, who, after allowing runs in each of the first 3 innings, has shut the Reds out in each of the last 2. A 3-3 game with the Reds batting in the home half of the 6th inning. High fly ball into right center field. Did Bruce get enough? You believe it. And the Reds lead it 4-3. 3 home runs here on Friday night. Was on base twice last night, and now breaks a 3-3 tie with a long one here today.
A changeup that was supposed to have Bruce out in front. Well, he gets out in front, but he keeps his hands back. Your body can slide a little bit towards the pitcher on a changeup, but you keep those hands back. And watch the wrist of Jay Bruce. They come through there like lightning.
Oh, and 2 to Chris Heisey, who's doubled, scored, and fouled out. For Jay, now 17 home runs and 56 runs batted in.
Watch Jay Bruce here. The hips can open this way, but what happens is you keep this shoulder closed all the way to the last moment. That allows you to stay on the changeup and drive it out of the ballpark. Talking with hitting coach Brooke Jacoby right now about that same exact thing. He likes those balls down, doesn't he? Reds fans, for great food with family and friends this summer, think JTM. Food, family, and fun. It's all JTM.
Speaking of good food, we thank our friends from Penn Station for feeding the entire crew before the ball game here last night.
Amen.
And you were digging in.
I was digging in, all right. I'll dig into Penn Station anytime. If it's in front of me, it's gone.
Heisey lost one into short right field. Over near the line is Fukudome for the first out here in the 6th inning.
If I'm going to get a Philly cheesesteak,
all right, you know,
that's where I'm going.
I've been meaning to ask you, is there any food that you don't like? Because you like talking about food and about eating.
I don't like rutabaga. It don't matter what kind, how you fix it.
Well, we are. Give me some. Give me some a little more common.
I don't like liver.
Ooh, really? Love liver. All right, go ahead.
I don't like liver. Don't even want to smell it. I don't like bell pepper on anything. I don't even want it to touch my food. If you got bell pepper, don't even bring it over to my house.
Now Ramon Hernandez 2 for 2, a run scoring single to center in the 2nd, and a single again in the 4th to center field.
Take a whole bottle of Pepsi if I can even smelling bell pepper.
Now does a cowboy eat sushi?
I like my food good.
So then I guess the answer to that is no.
That would be correct. It's a doggone good guess by you. Sushi. That stuff's nasty.
Oh, come on.
Dead eel.
Have you tried it?
Obviously not. It ain't good. I don't think I would like seaweed. I've tasted it in the ocean accidentally. It ain't real good.
That ball blasted into left field. Is it fair? Oh. It is foul. Mercy. That ball crushed by Ramon Hernandez.
Hernandez looking for this pitch, and it comes right back over the plate, and he gets it out just a tad too front. Too much in front. He thinks for a minute it's going, and then, oh, man.
A good call, clearly. That ball is scalding. And they pull the string on him and get him for strike 3. Two strikeouts on the afternoon for Casey Coleman. This will unquestionably be his final inning of work. Although his pitch count is still not too bad. And they are in the middle part of their batting order when they hit in the top of the 7th inning, so perhaps we'll see. After a shaky start, he's thrown the ball pretty well. Giannis, a pop-up into foul ground, and there's room over there for Ramirez. And that will end the inning. But Jay Bruce snaps the 3-3 tie with a long one to right center.
By AT&T. Find out what's possible with the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T. Rethink possible. By your Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky Honda dealers. Visit mycincinnatihondadealer.com for current offers. By Wendy's. You know when it's real. And by Hollywood Casino. More action, more excitement. Get to Hollywood Casino, Lawrenceburg, Indiana. 4-3. Reds up on the Jay Bruce home run out of right center field as we head to the top of the 7th inning.
And Sam LeCure, all of a sudden, Cowboy, has a chance to pick up a win. Coming in out of the bullpen, he retired the Cubs in order. His first inning in the top of the 6th. The Bruce home run snaps a tie in the bottom of the inning. And now he faces Ramirez, Nady, and Soriano. And again, you throw those strikes, you're going to get outs. And Giannis, after an initial bobble, able to throw out Ramirez.
And I think that is why Sam LeCure is in this ball game. He's aggressive. He throws strikes. He keeps your infielders on their toes. He works quick. If you're laid back and you're walking around the mound and dragging and not throwing strikes, that ball right there that Giannis has, he doesn't get to, number one, and he's not able to get back to the baseball and make the throw.
Cowboy, I think you feel the same way. There's a lot to like about LeCure. I mean, we talk all the time about Leake. We talk about Wood. We talk about the youth of Cueto and Homer Bailey and Edinson Volquez and, on and on and on. But I think it would be a grave mistake for anybody to count out this young man to being a part of the Reds rotation next year, or at the very minimum of certainly being on the opening day roster pitching out of that bullpen.
Well, I tell you what, the time that I've seen him throw out of the bullpen in this kind of situation, I like him better right here than I did out of the rotation.
Off the end of the bat, a fly ball into short right field from Xavier Nady lands in the glove of Jay Bruce. 5 in a row retired by Sam LeCure, needing a grand total of 15 pitches to get 5 outs.
LeCure throws strikes. He's got 3 different pitches to throw strikes with, and he has no fear. That's the part that you have to have when you come out of the bullpen. If you have any type of fear or anxiety at all coming out of that bullpen, you're not always going to do real good. I mean, that's a first pitch breaking ball to a guy that could hit a hanging breaking ball out of the ballpark in a hurry, and he puts it right on the money.
Misses with a fastball low and into Soriano, who's 1 for 3, had a run scoring double down the left field line in the 5th. Ran a fastball up underneath his hands with good movement to get ahead 1-2.
Set the target, he'll hit it.
Breaking ball, and he hit the target. 6 in a row retired by LeCure out of the bullpen. Going to keep it right here, middle of the 7th inning, for the singing of God Bless America at Great American Ballpark. The Reds lead 4-3.
Of our armed forces. And at this time, please help us honor these brave men and women and all our veterans of service, and welcome Kelsey Mira as she leads us in the singing of God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans wide with foam. God bless America, my home sweet home. God bless
a series it's been for Jay Bruce. 5 hits, 4 of them for home runs, and 6 knocked in. It's a pretty good series.
All you would like to have happen is for Jay Bruce to continue on some semblance of this hot streak. I don't know if he can stay this hot, but if he can keep swinging the bat anywhere near what he's doing here lately, it'll only make it easier to get to the brass ring there in September.
By Skyline Chili, call to the bullpen. We're back in a moment. For Sam LeCure to begin his 7th inning, prompting manager Mike Quaddy to make a pitching change. Out goes Coleman, and comes Marcus Mateo.
Mateo punched out the side on Friday. Gomes, Hernandez, and Stubbs in that order. Former Cincinnati Red farmhand made his major league debut on August 9th for the Cubs.
Now the young slugger, Juan Francisco, pinch hitting for Sam LeCure. What a job LeCure did. 2 perfect innings with 2 strikeouts, and he's in line for a win if the Reds can nail it down. 1-1 to Francisco.
He's now retired 9 consecutive out of the bullpen. You throw strikes, you get aggressive, hit your spots, make it happen.
Marcos Mateo throws very hard. That fastball at 95, fouled back out of play by Francisco. Juan waiting on a 2-2 pitch. Drew Stubbs next, then Chris Valleca. Up and away, ball 3. Well, we saw it last September when he came up to the big leagues, got his first major league home run. Wait to see Francisco get one of these 95-mile-an-hour heaters and just unload as far as he can hit it. But he comes up empty. That's a good fastball and a good location right there by Mateo. So 1 away in the inning, and since no Reds players yet have hit the sign for a fan to win the red Toyota Tundra, your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers are donating the truck to a local fire department. On Saturday, September 11th, 8 local fire departments will join Dusty Baker for the ceremonies before the game. Compliments of your local Toyota dealers. That's nice stuff. Stubbs a bunt, and they'll never throw him out.
That's what I'm talking about. Now, Tom, you and I have talked about this until we're blue in the face. Stubbs practices this every day during batting practice, and this one he gets on the ground and he gets it to stop in between the catcher and the pitcher. And you put the ball on the ground with that kind of spin, you got no chance to catch that gazelle. Even if you do get to the ball and you think you've got a chance to throw him out, you're going to have to hurry so much, you may airmail it down the right field line and give him a triple.
Third hit today for Stubbs, a double, a single, and now a bunt hit. And here's Vallejo for 2. Adam Wainwright has been lifted from the game after 5 innings today in Washington, and the Nationals still with a 4-0 lead.
Boy, with that kind of leg kick, you got to run Stubbs right now.
And especially after you saw us move to first base. I mean, you combine those two things, and that is a no-brainer.
Well, he long arms the ball to first base. If you're going to have a pick move to first with any kind of chance to get a quick runner like Stubbs, you've got to have a short, quick dart throw to first base.
There he goes. Pitch taken high. Throw down to second. No chance. And on to third goes Drew Stubbs. The guy has 23 of them and has only been thrown out 3 times. And that's a guy hitting in the 230s. You bump that batting average and on-base percentage up about 30, 35 points at the minimum, you're looking at a guy falling out of bed that'll steal 50.
And the thing about that, Tom, is you don't have to do that by swinging the bat. You can do that with 10 to 15 bunt hits per year. You separate the strikeouts, you add base hits into that, the average rises, and so does the on-base percentage, and along comes the stolen bases and runs scored with it.
And now Vallejo with a chance to knock in a run with Stubbs at third, who has stolen 3 bases in this series. And it's 2-1 to Vallejo.
I mean, even in this situation, you as a pitcher, you're thinking, God, if I bounce the ball up there, that dude's going to score.
Well, he hadn't been up for an entire week yet, but here's a chance for Vallejo to do one of those quote-unquote little things.
He is really trying to fight that ball off inside, which is where Mateo is going. Just trying to punch it back up the middle and flip it into right field.
And he gets a job done with a base hit into center field. Plating Stubbs, and the Reds now lead 5-3.
If you fight the ball off inside, sooner or later they'll come out here for you. And that's exactly what happens there. And he almost spins the cap of Mateo.
So Vallejo, a couple of the little things in the game here today. Put down a bunt that advanced Stubbs from second to third in the first inning, which led to a run. And now with a runner at third and less than 2 men out, he's able to bring in the runner from third with a base hit. A 2-run lead. That's it for Mateo. Sean Marshall on to face Joey Votto. And we'll step aside. The Reds in the 7th leading by 2.
Reds. Try the Mike Sales Picnic Tent. Enjoy a private ballpark buffet as you mingle before the game. Then head to your field box seats down the first base line to catch the action. You'll also enjoy plenty of Mike Sales chips, the official potato chip of the Cincinnati Reds. Open to groups of 25 to 200. Call 765-7600 or visit reds.com/groups. That's Mike Sales Picnic Tent.
Joey Votto, the batter. Sean Marshall, the new Chicago pitcher. And a breaking ball is a beauty by Marshall. Strike one.
This is the one pitcher that has been awfully tough on Joey Votto this year, because he's got a fastball that he can get in on him, and his breaking ball is nasty.
Threw it again, and again a good one. Strike two. Saw Tyler Colvin as part of a double switch, replacing Alfonso Soriano out in left field.
When you see Joey Votto turn away from a pitch like that and then it ends up being a strike, solid pitch.
On the ground to Ramirez, he had to wait with a mild shift on Starlin Castro to take that throw from third base, and they get the lead runner for the second out of the inning.
Emergency swing by Votto. He just wristed it over there. Tell you what, if he has that ball in 3 feet to the left or 3 feet to the right, he's got a base hit on that pitch. It's 5-6 put out. You don't see that too often.
No, you don't. So now Scott Rowland 0 for 2, did drive in a run with a sacrifice fly in the third inning. Strike one. Oh, and 1 to Scotty Rowland. Reds with a 5-3 lead, batting in the bottom of the 7th inning. Well, Travis Wood struggled today. Cowboy. 5 innings, allowed 10 hits, 3 runs. But Sam LeCure certainly brought calm to the Storm with 2 perfect innings out of the bullpen, and right now he's in line for the win.
Getting back in there throwing strikes, that was the big issue. Sean Marshall, you look at his numbers, they are absolutely just devastating for a lefty. 67 ball games now, 64 innings, and he struck out 75.
Runner goes, pitch taken, a throw down to second base, and easily stealing is Votto.
Did you see Rowland back out of the box there when he knew that Votto had the base stolen? Watch Rowland back out of the box here. Just stops because he knows that Votto has it made. Well, that's a veteran move for you.
Oh, yeah.
And knowing that that pitch is going to be the second strike.
Fastball away. I got a question for you, just curious to hear your opinion. You talked about Marshall and how good he has been this year. He's been a great pitcher for them this year in his role. But when you look at his stuff, would you rather see him go back in the rotation again? Because they have some decisions to make. There's a ground ball to short. We'll get back to that when we return. But the Reds get a run. And at the end of 7, lead Chicago 5-3. hung in there, and enough on that very strong arm to throw out Aramis Ramirez. That was in the 7th inning. And here we are now in the 8th. And the Reds with a 2-run lead after breaking the tie on a home run by Bruce in the 6th, an RBI single by Blake in the 7th, and that'll bring on Sir Arthur Rhodes from the bullpen.
Talking about Marshall's numbers from the left side, Rhodes 4-3 on the year with a ERA a point lower than what Marshall's was at 1.84. 60th appearance on the year. 49 innings, 43 strikeouts. Opponents only hitting 179.
On Giovanni Soto. And now ball and a strike. Soto to be followed by Fukudome. And then Tyler Colvin. So you have righty, lefty, lefty against the southpaw Rhodes in the 8th inning, trying to get it to Francisco Cordero in the 9th. Ball hit hard into right field. Jay Bruce will not be able to track it down. He'll play it off the wall one-handed. Here comes a throw to second. And able to get in safely with a double to Soto. So now the tying run comes to the plate after a leadoff double by Soto here in the 8th inning.
Fastball right on the outside corner. But Soto doing a good job of going out and getting that ball and driving it the other way. Hit that ball right on the good part of the bat.
In the air, right field by Fukudome, and the lead is vanished on a 2-run home run here in the top of the 8th inning. Holy Moses.
Well, he is a first pitch hitter, and he got a first pitch breaking ball for a strike. And just like he did against Arroyo yesterday, he does it to Arthur Rhodes today. A high breaking ball, and it is tomahawked out of here, and we got a whole new Wago.
It's 2 games in a row now where Arthur Rhodes has had problems. He blew that save in a huge comeback by the Giants, allowing 3 hits and 3 runs in his only inning of work. And now today, 2 batters, 2 hits, 2 runs.
And this will count as a blown save as well.
All the momentum you had gained over these last 2 innings evaporates right before your very eyes.
Seventh career first pitch home run for Fukudome. That ought to tell you about first pitch swinging.
Now Tyler Colvin, he bats for the first time since coming on defensively when they made a pitching change for Marshall. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
And the Reds really have to hope for their sake that Arthur Rhodes has not hit a wall here.
Off his glove, it rolls to Votto. Glove flipped to the bag, and safe as a call at first base. And you got to wonder if Rhodes has re-aggravated that heel injury. He's playing, of course, pitching with plantar fasciitis. And if anybody's ever had it, it's an extremely painful, I'm not going to call it injury. I mean, it's a day in and day out sort of thing. I've had it in both heels for many, many years. You have to get special orthotics made that you put in your shoes. But if you hit the heel right on the heel, orthotics or not, if there are any bone spurs in there, it's like somebody's taking a knife and just jabbing it right in the bottom of your heel. And Rhodes has had that problem ever since about, early June.
And it doesn't go away. I mean, the only way that it goes away is with extreme rest, and he has had none of that.
Very surprised. No trainer visit. I mean, it's very clear something wrong with Arthur Rhodes right now.
Well, the umpire went out to check on him.
Baldessard was up and standing at the bottom step in the Reds' first base side dugout. Runner aboard is a go-ahead run, and now they have Jeff Baker's show bunt, pulls the bat away, ball one.
Watch the front foot here. You can see Arthur Rhodes as he breaks off the mound for the bunt. Those feet are definitely tender.
You saw him more there on the follow-through with the left foot. When the left foot hit in the follow-through, that's where immediately he picked that one up off the ground.
Yeah, you could see the knee really try to cushion the blow.
A double, a two-run home run, and an infield hit. And we're in a 5-5 game. 1-2 now to Jeff Baker. Baker has homered off Arthur Rhodes this year. That was the opening weekend of the season.
That was the only run he had given up for quite some while.
Now to 1-2 to Baker. Struck him out. One away in the inning.
Rhodes quick in, and you can see him recock those hips as he comes plateward. Gets the ball out of his glove early. You can see that left foot there really getting off of it quickly.
Now Starlin Castro, 1 of 4 in the game, and an RBI single in the second inning. A check swing is foul off out of play, strike one. And now Rhodes ahead at 0-2. Colvin takes his lead over at first base, held on by Votto. Castro waiting on an 0-2 pitch, and first to throw will send Colvin back to the bag.
little play they had over there with Colvin was still a nice play. 1-3-1 put out.
Base hit left field. They're going to have to come get Rhodes. They've got activity in the bullpen, and here comes Dusty Baker. As great as he has been all year long, these last 2 games have not been good from Arthur Rhodes.
You can tell that he is hurting, and the frustration is setting in because he knows he wants to get the job done, and his feet have got to be killing him.
So Logan Ondrusek will come on from the bullpen. Rhodes has given up 4 hits so far, 2 runs, 2 on and 1 out. We'll be back in a moment. Logan Ondrusek will take over on the mound.
Well, you'd love to see Ondrusek pull a double play ground ball here and at least get the Reds back into the dugout and get working on the positive side.
Ondrusek numbers have been spectacular since coming back from the minor leagues up until the 2 games in San Francisco where his ERA just completely blew up. From June the 1st until August the 21st, he had a 1.3 ERA. He went through a stretch where he retired 20 straight batters. But in 2 innings in San Francisco in back-to-back games, or in 2 games of the 3 games of the series, he allowed 7 hits and 7 earned runs.
In the first day, when he gave up 4 runs, the ball was just up in the strike zone. But the following day, he came in and got 3 batters in consecutive fashion in the 7th inning. I thought Bassett was going to come in the ball game in the 8th, and they sent Ondrusek back out, and it ended up just being a nightmare.
A double play ball here. There's 1. There's 2.
There we go.
Well done. Very well done. All right. Bruce Heisey Hernandez coming up. It's a 5-5 game, middle of the 8th. Taking on an Ohio State All-American team of Evan Turner and the Philadelphia 76ers. You can get the full Cavaliers experience. Go to Ticketmaster.com or check into the U.S. Bank Arena box office. Sean Marshall still on the mound. He'll face Jay Bruce, and he'll be followed by Chris Heisey and Ramon Hernandez. A 2-run home run again by Kosuke Fukudome in the top of the 8th inning has tied the game at 5. One and one to Jay Bruce. Bruce broke a 3-3 tie with a home run to right center field in the 6th. Reds got another run in the 7th. You thought they were in business. Got 2 great innings out of the pen by Sam LeCure. But today was not Arthur Rhodes' day. He gives up 4 hits, 2 runs in just 1/3 of an inning. Baker will throw out Bruce, 1 out.
It was a good swing there by Bruce. Got a good pitch to hit. Just hit it right to where Baker was playing.
Now Chris Heisey, 1 of 3 in a game, doubled and scored in the 2nd inning. Marshall misses with that big breaking ball low. Ramon Hernandez next. That ball blasted into left field, a base hit by Heisey. So the go-ahead run aboard with 1 out here in the 8th inning.
Backdoor breaking ball. Instead of the ball going to the corner, it gets back to the heart of the plate. And Heisey, as you said, blasted into left field. It's his 2nd hit of the day.
Been a 2-hit day as well for Ramon Hernandez. Ramon an RBI single to center in the 2nd, single to center again in the 4th. Struck out after just missing a home run down the left field line in the 6th inning. Strike 1. And there's a base hit into right field. And Heisey's making a turn. Here comes a throw to third. It is not in time. Goes into the dugout, and the Reds are going to score a run. How about that? Heisey very aggressive, forcing the right fielder Fukudome to make a play. And the throw gets away, allowing the run to score. And Hernandez will be sent to second base.
Well, that's the hole that he loves, and we talked about this earlier in the ball game about how big that hole is created when the Cubs are playing for a double play. Baker playing way over by second base, but the play is made by the aggression of Heisey and having that speed in the lineup.
Well, you got to really wonder whether there was any communication there, because Fukudome's throw was offline. But it was so far offline that ball should have been cut off. But some reasons Castro let it go. Ramirez thought he was going to cut it off and had no chance to get it once it went by the shortstop. Well, the Reds will take it all day, every day. So now you have the lead again. And that has really been a story of this Reds team throughout this entire year. You can't do it every night, but there have been a lot of games and a lot of nights where they battle just like this. And here's another run, perhaps. Nope, they're going to hold the runner at third. And Giannis, with a base hit to shallow center field, sends Hernandez, who had to make sure, although it certainly appeared that ball had no chance to be caught when it left the bat.
That ball was real hard to tell for Hernandez how far it was going to go because the ball was hit right on the label of the bat. But even if Hernandez gets a perfect break on that ball, I don't think he's going to score either way. Not with the speed of Bird getting to the baseball.
How about this? Our first Brandon Phillips appearance. As he comes out of the dugout, he's not on the disabled list despite the fact that he's not played since getting hit on that right wrist, right hand area in San Francisco. But he has been running. He was taking ground balls earlier today.
Heck, he's getting a standing ovation just for pitch running.
It's a good feeling.
Heck, yeah.
So now Johnny Gomes up to pinch hit for Logan Ondrusik, who faced one batter and got a big double play ball to end the top of the 8th inning. Johnny Gomes digging in. First to throw over to first. Gomes early in the year built up huge numbers batting with runners in scoring position. And while they're still very, very good, they have come down dramatically. He's been pretty good in these situations. 21 out of 34. Runners are on the corners with one out.
That has been almost an automatic get-ahead pitch for Sean Marshall. And right now, he's either off the plate with the curveball or it stays in the middle, and the Reds are hitting it hard.
Off the glove of Ramirez, and everybody's safe, and the Reds lead 7-5. That'll be a base hit and an RBI for Johnny Gomes.
Tom, you said it just a few seconds ago. This club never quits.
So Brandon Phillips comes into the game and gets a run scored. Of course, before he got hurt, he was leading the National League in that category. And is officially one behind Albert Pujols for the league lead, and tied with his teammate Joey Votto. That's going to be all for Marshall. Mike Quaddy going to make a pitching change. I'm sure they'll ask him about not making the change long before this at bat, when he had right-handed batters Heisey, Hernandez, Giannis, and Gomes. Andrew Kashner, the rookie, will come on from the pen. The Reds lead by 2, and the Cardinals are down by 3. Presented by Honda, and a golden chance, it appears. They're in the bottom of the 8th inning in Washington. So you still have 3 more big outs to go. We know that Cardinal team is more than capable of not making that easy for you.
No, they don't quit either. That's the reason that both of these clubs are where they are as we enter September. As they continue to fight with each other.
But the bottom line is Andrew Cashner takes over. If the Nationals hang on and the Reds can nail this down, it will be the largest lead the Reds have had the entire year.
Right. They did have one day of 4.5.
Yep.
But 5 is big going into the last month of the season with a chance for more.
Got a 3-hit day for Drew Stubbs. He'll face the hard-throwing Cashner. Throws a fastball right by him at 97 miles per hour.
This is one of those kind of guys, when he grunts, you start your swing. That's what they used to say about Nolan Ryan. When he grunts, start.
Two on, 1 out, 0-2 to Stubbs, and a fastball is high. Saw Cordero. He's more than ready in that bullpen. Cubs are due to send up Aramis Ramirez, Xavier Nady, and then a pinch hitter for the pitcher in the top of the 9th inning. Ground ball down to 3rd. There's one, and they will never double up Stubbs. They're 2 away in the inning.
What Johnny Gomes was all over Baker at second base. He held on to that ball. It looked like he bobbled it for a moment on the throw from Ramirez. And if you bobble it, Gomes is there, and then you're never going to get Stubbs.
Well, that might have been a case where when you hear Johnny grunt, you better jump in the air.
Yeah, he was trying to jump and find that ball.
Now Vallejo with runners on the corners. Chris had a run-scoring single just 1 inning ago to put the Reds in front by 2. They gave up the lead in the top of the 8th inning, but have taken it right back here in the bottom of the 8th. 3rd time the Reds have led in the game today.
And you could just see Soto telling Andrew Cashner, watch Stubbs at first base. A big high leg kick from Cashner, and Stubbs will be off to the races again.
Stubbs had a stolen base after a bunt hit in the 7th inning, and then they threw the ball to center field. He wound up at 3rd. There he goes, and they will bluff the throw this time. So that's 5 stolen bases, or 4, I beg your pardon, in this series for Drew Stubbs, giving him 24 overall steals this year. Stubbs led the International League in stolen bases last year. We've said it once, we've said it 1,000 times. If the batting average, if the on-base percentage comes up, he could lead the National League in steals in the not-too-distant future. Vallejo fly ball to right will end the inning. But the Reds get 2. They lead 2. They're in front by 2. Top of the 9th coming up.
record before anyone else. That's Reds Live, brought to you by the Kings Honda in the Kings Auto Mall. Visit KingsHondaUSA.com.
A new battery for the Reds as we begin the top of the 9th inning. Cincinnati a 7-5 lead. Ryan Hannigan now behind the plate. The closer, Francisco Cordero, takes the ball on the mound. Cordero's coming along.
Really throwing the ball better, and I don't know that if it's just arm speed, if it's the fact that he could smell the end of the race as you get towards the end of September, but I know his mechanics are much better, just simpler than they were before. Just pick the knee up and let it come.
Strike 1 to Aramis Ramirez.
There's no more turning of the body before he picks up the knee. Now he just picks the knee up, a little rock back to second, and here comes the heater.
34 out of 40 in save opportunities is Cordero. And a check swing. They appeal. He did not go around. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Cordero appears almost as though his mechanics are quiet. There's just not a whole lot of movement, and the ball looks like it's just sneaking up on the hitter.
We'll see if Cordero has it today. Behind 2-1 on Ramirez with a 2-run lead. In the air, this should be out number 1. Votto behind the bag into foul ground. 1 out.
You watch Cordero, all he's going to do is bring the knee right here and then come straight to the plate. Before, he had a little twisting motion, almost as though he would take his shoulders and turn them towards the shortstop before he was coming plateward. It's tough to get his arm up into that good power position, but more so than anything else, he had a tendency to drop the elbow. Ball sails on him or the ball goes down into the dirt. Now his control is much better.
Now Xavier Nady, 2 of 4 in the game. Off-speed pitch in there for strike 1.
And I think that pitch has made more of a difference for Cordero over the last few ball games than anything, because he feels more confident throwing it for a strike.
Threw it again and had him way out in front to get ahead, 0-2.
Well, this is the same type of mechanical delivery that we saw from Cordero last year and the year before, and now he's getting back to that spot. And you ask, well, why didn't he do this earlier? Well, sometimes it takes a rough stretch before you change things, especially when you're in that closer mentality.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good night to Mr. Nady. And now the Cubs are down to their final out of the game.
3 consecutive breaking balls to punch out Nady. He's looking fastball all the way, and even though that wasn't the nasty biter, it was enough off speed to have Nady way out in front.
Blake DeWitt pinch hitting for the pitcher Cashner. The count on DeWitt with 2 outs here in the top of the 9th, and this ought to do it. Right side of the infield, Vallecas says it's mine, and the series belongs to the Reds as they win it by a final count of 7-5. And now, Cowboy, they'll sit back and watch the top of the 9th inning, I'm sure, in Washington, because it could be the largest lead of the year for the Reds. If the Nationals can nail down a 4-1 lead, it would go to 5 games over the Cardinals in a Central Division.
Well, Tommy, you said it best earlier. This club does not quit. Continue to change out. It was not a perfect pitching day for the Reds, but yet the offense continued to answer every time the Cubs started to edge closer.